morning to you all once more and officially welcome to Chacchoben. By the way, today, during this visit, you're going to be having the opportunity to learn a bit about the amazing Mayan civilization. And to begin with, I want you to know this. Chacchoben as a whole was a very important city for Mayan people during its peak because even though the city wasn't that big, as per the Mayan standards, I have to say that it was in extreme very important. Why? Because this place, Chacchoben as a whole, used to be or actually became a very important center of distribution of crops. In other words, the soil retains its moist for a longer period of time. Therefore, here in the region, not only at that time but still nowadays, we have crops all year round. And probably you noticed that on the way in, that the very first community that we drove through on the sites, these ladies were installing right now their shacks, their tents where they actually sell their surpluses. Yes, we have plenty of food in the area, fresh produce, I shall say. But I also want you to know that the city as a whole, it is comprising a pretty large territory. All of these cities were very scattered. It's actually comprising a territory between 10 to 12 square miles. Now, I have to say that during its peak, this city, as per the findings, it is believed that had between 15 to 20,000 people. That is not very big for Mayan standards, okay? That was considered to be a mid-sized city. How many structures have been found here so far? A bit more than 500 of them. They
Oh,
all have been investigated, excavated, but only a handful of them have been restored, which are the ones that we are going to be visiting. But you need to have very clear what type of structures are going to be before you. We have three types of structures available for you, and we are going to be able to see all of them. In other words, we have the ones which are actually the temples. This is it, one of those. And of course, this is a pyramid. This is not a tomb. This is not hollow. This is solid. These are not like the
wow.
ones in Egypt.
Mm.
Those ones in Egypt actually were tombs for the pharaohs. These are actually temples, the equivalent of our churches nowadays, okay? So in other words, what I am trying to imply with this is that in the event you were wondering, Alvaro, did Mayan people used to sleep on top of these pyramids? No, not at all. These are temples. Eventually, we're going to be able to see that section, the residential compound for the elite. Clarification. The area that we are going to be visiting today, it is considered to be the core of the city of Chacchoben. I have to say that then this is the area which is considered to be the sacred space of Chacchoben. All of these places are sacred, not only because of the temples, but as well for something else that you will be able to learn a bit later. I have to make sure to mention that. By the way, and the third type of structure that you're going to be able to see today are going to be the administrative offices. City Hall, yes. By the way, the area that we are going to be visiting today was actually restricted for the elite only. In the outskirts of the city, we had homes for the ones who are actually part of the lower social classes. In other words, lower social classes were never ever allowed to come into the area, this area that we're visiting today, unless they had been invited.
Mm.
Why would an invitation be extended to them? Well, for rituals. Those rituals were related always to the fertility of the soil. Most likely the 21st of March, but as well the 21st of September. If you're wondering why these 2 days, I'll be able to help you out with those answers. I would like to make a parenthesis, please. I want you to know that I am not a local tour guide, neither an state tour guide. I am actually a certified federal tour guide, and of course, I am the type of tour guide that is going to be hired in the event I have a group from the UK per se, and wants to get acquainted with some of these amazing, beautiful jewels that we do have in our pre-Hispanic world. Central Mexico, Mexicas, Zapotecs, Toltecs, Totonacs, Mayas, Olmecs, Toltecs, you name it. I would be that one to be hired and to take them throughout the nation. And normally those tours exist and they last between 2 to 3 weeks. I prefer to do these ones, the short ones. What is my point? I am only trying to imply one thing. Don't be shy. If you have questions, let me know. I may not know everything. However, if I don't know the answer, frankly, I'll make it up, but I'll let you know. Okay? By the way, retaking the subject, I want you to know as well that I'm going to be leaving the cherry on the cake for last. The tallest structure of all is the one that we are going to be visiting afterwards. Alvaro, how were these cities organized in ancient times? Very simple. I'm going to be making a very good analogy with the Vatican City, Monaco, Singapore, and even Hong Kong per se. These are cities slash states. They all have their own rulers, their own institutions, and of course their own army. By the way, even though they were actually nearby another city, each of these cities used to take their own decisions, make their own decisions. Alvaro, I have a question for you. I went to Cancun 11 times, and in one of those occasions that we went to Cancun, we went to Chichen Itza. And we remember that in Chichen Itza, our tour guide told us that human sacrifices used to take place at Chichen Itza and that they used to throw those people after being sacrificed at the sacred sinkhole that they have over there. Is that correct? I have a question. How many of you have heard something like that?
Sure.
Yes, besides the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
Yeah.
some of you have heard that. That is very correct. This was actually an imported practice from the highlands of Mexico. But they were doing it with one thing in mind, to please their gods when they were having lack of this vital element, water. In other words, why in Chichen Itza yes, and in the rest of the Mayan world that didn't take place? For one simple reason. These are cities states, and Chichen Itza is not a city that is 100% Maya like the rest of them. Chichen Itza is a city that was co-founded by two amazing civilizations. One that ended up arriving from the highlands of Mexico with one thing in mind, to conquer the area. They couldn't. Mayan people were very powerful, but not necessarily in terms of weaponry. Is that the way you say it? But indeed, with knowledge. These were very sophisticated people. So these people who ended up arriving from central Mexico, which are called the Toltecs, which are the ones with the big weapons, they decided to shape an alliance with these people of Chichen Itza, the Itzáes. That is the name of this dynasty. Bottom line, they implemented, guess what? The worshipping of a deity that was imported as well from central Mexico, the feather serpent, Kukulkan, and that practice individuals. But in the rest of the Maya world that didn't take place, these are cities which are 100% Maya, but most important of all, I have to say that the one that you are actually visiting is in a way a primitive city, not at all. But of course, that is a way to put it because the ornamentation that you're going to be able to see today, it is basic as in comparison with some other of the amazing Mayan cities. But this has actually its own beauty. This one comes from central Guatemala. The name of it is Petén, in which one of the most important features that we have here pertaining to these pyramids is that the corners are semi-rounded and we have lack of ornamentation. But I have to say that is beautiful. This is coming from central Guatemala during the great days of the British Empire. We have different architectural styles depending of the ruler, the king or the queen. Tudor, Victorian, Georgian, the same thing within the Mayan world. Please don't be under the impression that once you have seen a Mayan city, you've seen them all. Not at all. There are some of these Mayan cities which are actually making you believe that you are in Asia when you visit them. In other words, the Maya world is very diverse. Now, I would like to propose you this. You have the first 10 minutes of pictures, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to be waiting for you and as well shouting out loud Alvaro's family, right where that beautiful, very big tree is. You're going to be able to see me there. I am the only chubby guy over there, okay? Thank you very much. Go ahead, please,
Got
take
it.
your picture.